technically, these are IoT devices, but without internet. You bring your phone closer to the device, it automatically connects to the device. And from that point onwards, the device would speak to your phone and your phone would speak to the backend server, a web server basically that's associated with the device.
Hello, Francois. Welcome to the famous ipXchange studios. And thank you very much for playing your part in today's ipXperience. Now, Francois is from a company called AuthGate, which is a nice play on words on authenticate, because he's all about mobile payment. Now, I don't know if anybody else has listened to this, but when I do mobile payment, as far as I'm concerned, it's alien technology. Don't understand how it works. So hopefully Francois, unless he, of course, he is an alien, is going to be explaining to us that there's fantastic technology behind it, unless, of course, he himself is an alien. Maybe we all are. So, Francois, tell us about what you do.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you for the opportunity. So, yes, so I just need to give you a little bit of background. So the company started in 2018, so that was quite about almost 6 years ago. And, COVID, we were one of those companies who didn't make it through COVID. We shut down the company in 2020. And I restarted the company again in 2022. Immigrated from South Africa to the Netherlands. So if the accent gave me away, I'm actually from South Africa, now in Europe. So what we did was in South Africa, we actually did payments, and we developed a product. This is an example of the product. So this is a payment product that we developed for Africa specific, for payment acceptance. And if you think of Africa, there's millions, there's literally hundreds of millions of merchants in Africa. And if Africa wants to go cashless, you can't give each of those merchants a point of sale device. That's too expensive for them, and the infrastructure doesn't really exist. So we developed this little product to enable people to pay with their phones. Everyone in Africa basically has a phone, not always smartphones, but they're all connected and they can pay with their phone. So that was a natural sort of thing for us. So what we did in Europe is when I restarted the company, I actually critically looked at what we did in Africa, and I said, this is something that can work anywhere. And specifically in Europe, where you have to pay at a vending machine or a parking meter, or you pay for a squash game, or any place where you would do a payment would be a good market for us, because we have these little, extremely small little devices. And I can give you an example of how these devices look like. So that's the device. Yeah, it's an extremely small device. Okay. And this device enables you to accept payments. You can make payments with your phone, and this device can verify that the payment has been done. And this is such an alien kind of idea. So the way that I like to,
didn't I? You see, I told you.
Yeah. Well, we actually had 2 patents registered on the technology because it was so different. At the time, everybody said, okay, but how do you do this? Because these devices are not connected to the internet. So technically, these are IoT devices, but without internet. And that's where the twist comes in.
So they're of things, not internet of things.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So what really happens is your phone provides the internet connectivity, because your phone already has the internet connectivity. So if you interact with a piece of hardware and you're in the same area as that piece of hardware, so you're not doing something remotely, over a long distance. You're actually interacting with a device right next to you. There's no reason for that device to have an internet connection and your phone to have an internet connection. You can reuse your phone's internet connection. Obviously, the security with that, quickly gets very, very complex. But we solved that problem with digital certificates. So you bring your phone closer to the device. The device has a Bluetooth chip on there and a cryptographic processor. You bring your phone closer to the device. It automatically connects to the device. And from that point onwards, the device would speak to your phone, and your phone would speak to the backend server, a web server basically that's associated with the device. So it's not a centralized system. Each device can have its own server in the cloud.
So your little module there doing online payments is piggybacking the internet access, the device that's interacting with it, in order to get internet access, because it's an of things, not an Internet of Things device.
That's correct. Yes, absolutely
Right.
correct.
Okay.
And you would basically the server associated with each of these devices. There's a trust relationship between the device and the backend server, the cloud server, and your phone sits in the middle. Your phone can speak to the cloud server, show web pages. So in a vending machine scenario, for example, you would see all the products on your phone. You'd select the products just like you would do a normal e-commerce kind of transaction. So you select the products and then you go to a checkout. And the next thing that happens is it either brings up a web page with, let's say, PayPal, or it brings up your banking app to do an online payment. So in the Netherlands, they have something called Ideal. Belgium has got Bankcontact, and Germany has got GiroPay. And these are all apps that can do payments. So we switch to one of those apps. The app does the payment, and we get the confirmation just like you would do with a normal e-commerce payment.
So
the final step is then,
Just getting to the engineering part of it. Just show us that little module again.
Yeah.
Just show us the little module again.
Sure.
So what exactly have you done there? What is sitting on that little board? What have you brought to the party?
It's basically just a standard Bluetooth chip.
Right.
We removed the security layer of Bluetooth Low Energy. We added our own layer, working on the digital certificates, and then we've got the cryptographic processor that actually can generate and parse these digital certificates. So that's basically all that's on that board.
Right.
That's the crux of it. Yeah.
So from our community's point of view, who are solving design engineering problems every day, they're looking for disruptive technology. They're looking for things that are different, that they can solve problems in a different way, which is the whole point of IP Exchange. So really your differentiator, your disruptive thing is the software that you've got running on that chip and on that board that is different in the way that it interacts and piggybacks the internet access via the device that it's talking to. That's essentially your differentiator.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And what we also did in Europe is, in South Africa, I did a lot of development. We created products for vending machines and parking systems, and final products, end user products using our technology. In Europe, I've basically gone back down to basics. I've ripped the guts out of the products, and this is this little, we call it a TAD module, a transaction authentication device. So this is this little module, and I've now sort of designed it in a way that you can reuse it in your own products. And it's not just for payments now anymore. So I've expanded the range of types of transactions that you can do. So you can do a digital identification. I can do digital signature, like signing for a parcel or agreeing to something, and then confirming that I did this. So there's identification, authentication, digital signatures, access control, for example, is another scenario. So the same device can now be used in many different types of environments. People are even using this for clocking systems, for time and attendance clocking systems now, where you use your phone and you check in at work just using your own phone. And it's a much simpler system. You don't need a complex Android internet connected kind of device for a clocking system anymore. It's a really simple, small, cheap thing.
So you can use it for security too.
Yeah, there's so many other applications that's come up. Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So if you're one of our designers in our community, and you've obviously described it not just being a transactional tool, but also a security tool, or anything where you want authentication, basically, that's what you described. How would they, if they wanted to evaluate that, how would they come to you and say, right, would like to look at how it works? Yeah.
So I've got these development kits that it's a very, very simple kit. It actually works with a base station. So we've got different products, and this is the base. So this just connects to your PC, and this plugs into this development kit. And with that, you can actually on your own computer sort of do dummy transactions. You can use your phone, transact to it, see what comes back from the device, send information back to the device. It goes back to your phone and to your cloud-based server. So you can do payments, you can do identification. I'm currently working on the European digital identification system to actually incorporate this into the device. So you can be, if you live in Europe, you could use your phone to identify yourself at some of these devices, get access, and optionally even provide further information. Let's say, for example, you go to an office and you want to use their parking system because you've got an appointment there. They can verify that you've got an appointment. They can open the rooms for you. They can already announce that you've arrived. There's so many other applications that you can use with that. But to use this, you need this development kit to actually be able to test it and exercise it. And then we also need feedback from developers as to what functions they would want additionally into this, because there's so many things we can't think of all the possibilities for this.
Yeah. No, that's the very nature of the world we live in with electronics. It's best just to let design engineers play with things and they'll work it out for themselves. So if obviously post-COVID, we were beginning to get used to interacting with our mobile devices, with two-end devices talking to each other. Pandemic comes along and it sort of reaches that tipping point where that now has very much become a way of life. What sort of things what's an alternative if you're a design engineer who's already using this kind of technology or thinking about this technology and they hadn't heard about you? What would be the kind of companies or software that they would consider now? And having obviously now seen this video, they'll potentially come and talk to you. But before that, what would be an alternative?
Yeah, so I think the big alternative is, if you go to a train station, there's all these ticketing machines and machines that you interact with. Most of these machines have got some kind of user interface, a touch screen where you select what you want and you do the payment transaction, tap your card in the machine. So it's a fairly complex system, and that's what we do today. That's how we interact with machines and devices and things today. Vending machines, the same sort of scenario. What we're proposing is that you can take that ticketing machine, you can remove the screen, you can move even the card payment reader if you like. Doesn't have to remove that, but you can cut out all the expensive bits, make it much smaller, even make it battery powered if you need to do that, because the power consumption this is extremely low. And then you simply use your phone. You approach the machine. You basically tap your phone on the machine. There's an NFC connection. If you've got an Android device, on iPhone, we actually detect the distance between your phone and the machine. And then you perform the whole transaction on your own phone. And when you're ready, you do the payment, if there's a payment involved. It's all secure. It's a push payment, so it comes from your phone. You never sort of have to touch a public touch screen. If you think of how many people is actually touching that screen and interacting with that machine with touch, now you can do it all with your own phone. You can buy a ticket. You can, gain access to a sports stadium. There's so many things that you can do with it, but you do it with your own phone at a simple, cheap little device like this. So if you want to incorporate this in your equipment, we have an I2C interface on this. And we also have a UART. It's not a full RS-232, but 3.3 levels, 3.3 volt level. Sorry. Communication to this. So there's a command. You can send commands to it. It can let you know if the payment has been successful or the transaction is successful. And that's usually all you would need. So to interface this to an existing system is very, very easy.
Very good. Very good. Well. I'm not sure whether we proved whether it's still alien technology or not, but certainly it's innovative and it's new, and it's now available on ipXchange. And if you'd be interested to find about Francois' technology, you can apply via our website to apply for one of his boards to play around and see whether it's right for the products and solutions that you're working on today. Francois, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you today. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to hearing about new ways, because you talked about lots of different ways that you solve problems. So looking forward, maybe updates in a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, to see how you're getting on with solving more problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guy. I appreciate it. And we should definitely do this again sometime. Thank you.
Cheerio.